Welcome to Immigrate. Welcome to a space where you can be vulnerable, a space where you're not going to be judged, a space where you can be authentic. And my hope and desire is to inspire and motivate everyone that click onto this podcast. So welcome to another episode of Immigrate.
Welcome, guys, to another great episode of Immigrate. I'm so excited to come on here again and to share with my lovely guest, Joset, and she's gonna just share her beautiful story, and we're gonna learn so much. Welcome to Immigrate Podcast. So tell us who
Hi,
you are. Yeah.
I'm Joset Rosado. I am a mental health therapist. I'm based out of South Carolina, but I am licensed in South Carolina, Florida, North Carolina, and Georgia. And the reason why I'm licensed in all these different places is because I provide immigration evaluations for
Okay.
clients who are petitioning for their document status to change from immigrant to non-immigrant.
Lovely. And that's a very important role because everyone, just making someone's life better and help them to transition is beautiful. We're going to have, so this season, we talk about how does rejection affect immigrants, right? And it can be a difficult topic to deal with, especially if you come into a country thinking you know everything. Or you feel like, okay, I'm here. There's no way I'm going to get rejection. I'm in a new country, new people. I'm not around the people I know. People embrace me more. So how do you think rejection impact immigrants emotionally and mentally as a therapist?
You decide to uproot your life and start over, it's not just the paycheck you're looking for. You're looking for proof that you're moving forward, that you're walking towards success. So when rejection keeps coming up, it's not just, I didn't get that job. It's a question of, do I belong here? Did I make a
Mm,
mistake? And I've worked with people to respect the professionals back home. They're engineers, teachers, doctors, business owners. And here they're told they're not qualified for roles that would even be below their skill set.
right.
So over time, it chips away and their hope decreases. And then they stop applying for those types of jobs, take whatever they can get. They stop connecting. And no's then becomes something that's part of their worth as opposed to just
Huh. So you're saying that like it just not just affect your physical being. It destroys your whole identity of a person that you are. So do you think that job rejection, because I'm loving how you just jump into this, trigger the past trauma as an immigrant?
yeah. And sometimes it's in ways that people don't. Sometimes there are situations where they have memories of being excluded or here, maybe because of their last name, because of the accent they have or the way they looked. Maybe they were running away from a place that always shut doors to them. And so what happens here, even though, they have such high expectations of being in America, the body still reacts. It's like, well, wait a minute, we've been here before. I've had clients say, like, I feel like I'm back there
Wow.
and being told like I don't belong here.
Mm.
Pretty much that's because our brains store that emotional pain, like like an old file that we can go back to. Doesn't matter if it happened 10 years ago or yesterday. Support rejection starts stacking on top of old wounds.
I touch on previous episode how I talk about what is like when we don't deal with these traumas, when those little girl or that little boy inside of us, it shows up in our adulthood. Either we're not valid, like all these, and I name a bunch of signs. So how do you see, like, for example, with the job rejection, I want to see there's a little 2 more minutes, like, what are signs, like, what are the triggers? Give us examples of triggers that you think that a lot of you will see, like, occasion of not necessarily sharing a story, but like examples of how you see these triggers showed up for immigrants.
I There is that decline in self-worth. So it's whatever job I can get. So they'll take on poor work conditions, less money, abuses at their jobs, worry or being put in a worry that immigration can be called at any time if they don't follow whatever it is that they received from their workplace, that they could be fired at any time. And now that they could go to work and be picked up and put in a detention center. So all of these things create more of a survival as opposed to a sacrifice that leads to success.
So you're saying then it does affect your identity, right? How does that role play in the
I said, back home, you might know someone as like a nurse or a shop owner, and then they're they come here and suddenly they're an immigrant with no experience in the US, right? So that can shift in a way that's devastating because I've seen people question, like, who am I now if my skills don't matter? And if you hear enough rejections, it's easy to internalize that. So I try to remind people, like, your identity is not just the job title. You bring language skills, resilience, especially adaptability. That's something that a resume can't capture.
No. For a long time, I've always thought that my identity was with what I have done, like a job. So imagine an immigrant who got laid off, because here and back home is different. When 3 months, they decide if you want the job or not. You look good on the resume, and then in 2 months, they're like, you're not good enough. And that happened to me so many times. And that shift I'm very confident. So even with me thinking I'm confident, right? Still affected my self-esteem, and it made me feel like my identity was in what I do. So how does someone rebuild that confidence back after those rejections?
First of all, you have to separate the no from your value. A no doesn't erase everything you are, who you are, your story, or your ability to move forward. And I always encourage people to look for the small wins. Sometimes it's your child is succeeding in school. Your family is healthy, both here and back home. Maybe they interact more with their neighbors, or maybe they decide to take it in an English class because they want to expand their language abilities. And in doing that, we speak about, you see, like, you can do this. You have to surround yourself with people who see your potential, not just see you for what's on paper. If rejection hits deep, I always encourage them, find the support, find a therapist, find a pastor, find an elder in your church because they're often connected with their churches.
Yeah.
Just to find that support to help them work towards rebuilding their confidence.
I think it goes to right back to your self-belonging, because sometimes we have a sense of, okay, we do find the pastors, we do find the elders, and we do everything right. But how do we have a sense of belonging? Like, this is my home now. I know, all the things. How do I find a sense of belonging in this new country?
Yeah, it's not just about having an address. It's about feeling included, right?
Yeah.
So even though job rejection sends like a message, or any kinds of rejection they're feeling, whether it was intentional or not, it's still someone looking from the, outside looking in kind of thing. You're not working. You might be not just missing income, you might be missing social connections, right?
Right.
Without, or feeling of routine, or feeling a part of like the community.
Yeah.
So without that, it makes it harder for them to integrate, and loneliness is going to happen before you know it.
So in order for them to have a sense of belonging is to find a community, find that core group, even if you search. So where do they go to find these core groups? Because people find it difficult to find the sense of belonging. Where do they go?
To what makes them feel close, their family, the family they've created, the friends and community. Church is a very big platform for immigrant families who come through. Immigrants find that going back to their faith helps them so deeply because they can take that time and just be, not with a name, a number, a piece of paper. You're illegal, you're not wanted, or look at the news and see everything. No, they can be in a peaceful type of situation.
So how do they keep going with all of this? Like, I know it can shift. Like, how do they shift their mindset? Because we all need that mindset shift, right? We come, because I find even though you stay in your culture, sometimes it's not necessarily good too. But how does it help when with a mind shift change to keep them going? Because you can even re-trauma yourself within these groups too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I'm so sorry. I'm just hearing you and I'm like, oh, this is what we got to do. There's a view of where rejection has to be seen as a redirection. It's not a verdict. It's like a push. So we're going to go through this door. Now you got to go through this one. And whether you're here in the States, this whole thing about trying to find jobs, it's a numbers game at this point. So every no isn't necessarily personal. People are having a hard time finding jobs, whether they could be educated, they could be uneducated, they could be from here, they could be from somewhere else. So instead of asking like, what's wrong with me? You can shift to, what can I learn from this? Really remind yourself that your value doesn't come from a company saying yes. You were valuable before you even applied.
Oh, that's powerful. So then, does it help with them reading and listening to stuff that builds because, man, I've been in this country for quite some time now. And in order for me to actually change my mind, I literally had to read and do things, even going to school. Because as I said, when you keep on getting this job rejection and you're seeing your peers growing, or you see people around you who put you in this box that expect you to be like, when you come, you should get this type of job. Don't get this type of job. Don't get this type of job. So how does someone know, okay, if I'm cleaning a bathroom, it's still okay. It's not my worth. It's what I have to do right now. How do you encourage someone to be like, you can move forward from cleaning a toilet? Because if cleaning the toilet, it may seem as a demeanor job, but you can move forward from that. Once you have a goal and the system, how do you get someone from that lowest of thinking to say, okay, I can get to an executive job?
I mean, I think we've all been through that.
Yeah, exactly.
Having been born here in the States, I remember my first job ever was stocking books in the library. I've worked retail. I've worked food and beverage.
Yeah.
I've worked I can't even tell you how many mental health clinics or how many hundreds of thousands of people I've served over this long time that I've been doing this job.
Yeah.
Did I ever think I'd have my own private business? It was a dream, but I had to go through all of that before. If there's one thing an immigrant knows, is coming from here to getting to there. The travel, the journeys coming from their country to the US gives them that seal of approval. Hey, you've got more strength than most. And that's where you give the encouragement. Yes, you're cleaning a toilet bowl right now, but you're in the business, you're in the building. There's another position that's going to come up. You're going to go apply for it and you'll be more seen and your work will be appreciated and people will get to know you as opposed to what they think they know of you.
Right.
And
That's
if
so
this is the
powerful.
job, that'll be in the next one. Because it comes more from a place of where I'd want to be as opposed to where I need to be for survival.
That is so powerful because you're just changing their mindset to be like, you know what? You don't think about now, think about in the future, because that's where you want to be. And thank you for sharing your experience where you have done other things to the person. And sometimes, as I said earlier, we compare ourselves with people who are 6 steps ahead of us. My husband I always use that analogy. My husband is taller than I am and he walks faster than me. I'm from Jamaica. I married they walk really fast. So sometimes I'm like, I want to catch up, right? And it's just the reality of life that sometimes we're trying to catch up with people who are really or way ahead, and there's no comparison. We cannot compare ourselves. There's a text in the Bible that says, in everything due in season, right? So we take things by season. So with that, as we wrap up, what kind of support system are most helpful after a job rejection?
Well, I think people need both heart support and like hands-on support. So the heart support comes from the people who matter, like families, friends, your religious community, peer groups. Hands-on support comes from like training programs, or if there's resume workshops or English class or immigrant advocacy groups that really help opening doors for the immigrant population. And I know a lot of them work really hard to give back because they realize that people are feeling this way. And of course, mental health support is always important. I feel very grateful to be able to speak two languages so that I can provide that service for clients in my office. That way, rejection doesn't turn into continued depression, continued isolation.
Is there anything else you want to share that you think we didn't touch on that you think is a very important point in relating to what we're talking about?
People should, even though we're in this time and place and things are a little uncertain, go with your gut. If you are in a job that does not dignify you as a human being, as the wonderful person that can bring in so much to our community, our society, walk away. There's another job available to you. There's another place that you can find things that are more in line with who you that you want to obtain.
It's so powerful what you just said. It's true. We don't have to settle. And you don't think because where you are right now and all the things that's happening in the world, it breaks my heart because people want a better life, and it's just hard. So where can people find you? Where, if someone listening, where can people find you?
So my website is my name. It's josetrosado.com. The name of my office is Corazon Wellness and Coaching. And you could just, Google my name, my office, and my website is there. There are direct links where people can reach me and all the services I provide there as well.
Thank you so much for the services that you're doing, and thank you for the impact that you're making, because I know you have done an amazing job to so many people. We can sit here and talk so much issues that affect immigrant. I mean, the conversation continues and the conversation will ever continues because we need to break that cycle of that taboo thinking that, I am not enough because my language is different, because I don't speak like that person, or I don't have that whatever. It makes us feel like we are not equal. And I thank you for just coming to share your expertise and your advice with us. I really do appreciate your time. So with that
Thank you so
said,
much for having me. These conversations are important.
they are definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to that wonderful interview. It was such a delight. If you want to hear more inspiring episodes like these, please to follow us on our Instagram at Immigrate. We'll be uploading all the videos, all the short clips of it, and you can find me in my email at heslop.Tasha-Gaye13@gmail.com. That is heslop.Tasha-Gaye13@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to another great episode of Immigrate.